Hey everyone, Draco Magnius here for another episode of Let's Play Call of Cthulhu. In the last episode, we were trying to escape the madhouse. The madhouse! And we succeeded! Hooray! In this episode, we're going to meet up with the rest of our party.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Bradley and Dr. Cohen are part of our party, yes. And, see what they've been doing while I've been KOD.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Well,
did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
Okay, nothing else to say? Got it. Then I'll say something. Seriously? This is like a tabletop Call of Cthulhu. I haven't played the tabletop Call of Cthulhu game, but we've got a police officer, an investigator, and a doctor in the same room, all working together in an investigation. Now, we just need one more person. Maybe a soldier. Or someone who knows a shitload about occult shit. And then our party will be complete. Anyway, hi.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Sarah Hawkins was the object of a cult. I don't have enough occultism. Let's start with Bradley. You did see Charles was alive?
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there!
Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
Seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital. And called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
Well, it's good to know. We have, accounting there. I don't have enough medicine to do that. Let's see what this is.
You two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
That makes sense.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I? Anyway.
Let's go a little friendly.
Let's get back to the business at hand.
Right, of course. Let's talk to Colden. Did Fuller found Riverside? I saw dead bodies. Sarah Hawkins was committed. Let's start with
Given
this.
the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him.
Good.
You wish to know anything else?
Oh, yes. Let's see. We have Sarah Hawkins was
I
committed.
found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Let's talk about the dead bodies.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan, and I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Let's come back. Let's start with this.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I might be onto a lead. Boy, I really wish I had enough occultism to do this. Or medicinal.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
It
Tell me
sounds
how
crazy.
Mr. Sanders died.
He called him the Shambler.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
Fair.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may
But
be
also fair.
biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Better to confront the truth. I don't know. On one hand, he's right. That she deserves to know her husband's passing. But we should also be very careful. We shouldn't just walk on up and say, hey, by the way, your husband's dead. Want to talk about something? Let's stay
You're right.
prudent.
Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Oh god, what if I regret the decision I've just made?
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Right. Very well. I like that we're using this as our base of operations. Oh, fine, we'll leave. Chapter 6, Sanders' Residence. Pierce, Calden, and Bradley decided to team up to solve Sarah Hawkins' case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler, that unfortunate man mentioned before he died. That the unfortunate man mentioned.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here.
Well, hello, Cat.
You know each other. Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
Didn't
I
want
bump into
to.
her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me. You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Talk,
Very well,
Cat.
Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
Well, it
May
seems
I
like my
inquire
decision to
as
be prudent
when
was...
you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
You must not feel guilty. Let's go with psychology. Let's see. He died screaming right before my eyes. Don't want to hear that. I was no longer there when it happened. You're taking it quite well. Let's go with
What
that.
happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
I share your grief, but I had nothing to do with it. True culprit is Fuller. Hold to test eloquence. I'm going to do
It's
eloquence.
terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured? Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
How did you know Sarah? What is Kat doing here? How about this?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? Shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can't imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Very well. Let's go take a look at the Shambler. But first...
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
I guess that's the painting in the background. And we have Irene, Fuller, and Sarah. Oh! Flashback! Right.
Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close.
Sorry,
Friends,
Frances
even?
Sanders.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? A house of artists.
Well,
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
Oh, shit! Yeah.
The Shambler. I need to see it.
All right. Wow. Just looking at a past version of it was so strong that it forced me out. Lock day. Ooh.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Edison gold molded record. An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife Irene.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes.
Okay.
Think anymore. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Sorry. Is this the way to the gallery? No. Well. Huh. Hello, Miss Cat. Oh, well, that is interesting. Huh. What is this? Dissertation on an anatomical question. It's the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. All right. What does that put my medicine at? So close to 3. So very close. Ooh. Key to the gallery. Would you read the book? The Malleus Bestiarium, Volume 2, Beyond the Reality. Oh wow, I got 2 different things. And Jack of all trades! It is a kind of encyclopedia of monsters and unknown creatures that I'm beginning to believe that they exist. I guess because I'm balancing all of my stats, I got Jack of all trades. And whoa. Alright. My occultism is close to level 3. Just like my medicine, everything is leveling up at a regular pace, I suppose. Oh! There we go. That's at 4. I think I'm going to do Eloquence next. There we go. Validate those points. Excellent.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. I've got to verify the paintings for a buyer.
I have a well-off client in Boston who heard about the death of Francis Sanders and wanted me to size up his estate before making an offer to his widow.
Nice story. Bad lie. Learn how to dupe, Detective. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
And you? What are you doing?
What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings.
Ah.
She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Well, goodbye. I guess there's nothing else she really has to say to me, I'd imagine. Likewise, I don't really have much to say to her. I probably should have just fucking told her the truth, honestly. Don't mind me, I'm gonna look at all of this. That was weird. It gave me the magnifying glass and then he didn't say anything about it. Okay.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. These artifacts.
Okay, he's just gonna say the same thing. I was wondering if I could maybe move the glass. Oh, hey, it's that weird statue. Well, I see.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
I see the Shambler at the middle. I'd like to maneuver around it and see if there's anything of note.
The public entrance to the gallery.
Ah. Of course. Why is it not... Well, I guess that's not relevant to anything, since I can't actually interact with it even though it gave me an interactable thing.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Perhaps he needed to defend himself. Oh, that's a very lovely painting. Very surrealist. Huh. A lot of these paintings are pretty surrealist. Huh. Well, I think it's time that we finally give the Shambler its due. Huh. Oh no. Yeah. Hey Sarah, why the fuck did you paint this thing a portal? Yeah. Oh, good! As long as it doesn't look down. Oh, it can't see. It has no eyes. It's a shame the sun came up while I was recording. This would probably be even more terrifying in the dark. Good.
What the hell was that?
The Shambler, I'd imagine. Don't mind me, just gonna move some stats. I'm so close. Okay. Here's a thought. Hide. Fuck. There was a closet over there. Just sprint. Okay. Can I get out?
I can't even touch it.
I'm just gonna hide. It's fine. Boy, I wish I could fucking see!
No way out. No choice. I must get rid of it.
How? Fuck? Well, that's oil!